All right, everybody, welcome back. This is Monday, December 18th. This is the last week before our break. Today's discussion will talk about how Americans went through surviving the Depression. Before we get into that discussion, excuse me, we will have the bell ringer here today. If you have a bell ringer sheet or if you want to kind of answer it on your own, that's fine. Based on what we learned last week, what events that we've talked about, whether it was the market crashing, whether it was people leading from the crash to middle class and lower class Americans getting impacted by the market crash, which none of them either had money invested in stocks. But how do they get involved in this depression? Do we see this and this? Severe poverty in America that a lot of Americans are impacted by, specifically not having anything done on their own. You know, how Americans have made no decisions on their own to impact these issues. Now, how do they get impacted by this? But based on discussions so far, which ideas intrigue you most, which events intrigue you the most? The several materials we got last week can help you answer that question. So go ahead and take care of that. And you can go ahead and make sure you have some of this information here, all right? But write that down and you'll be good to go. Now, what we do eventually do moving forward, and I'm going to kind of pause the PowerPoint here, but this is pretty much all we're looking at here today. Is we did some current events, which takes us like maybe 15, 20 minutes. And the rest of the class, we read a brief story about how Americans, or a man roamed the country looking for handouts or work, and what he went through, like how, if you're considered a homeless person or what they called a hobo back then, you would roam the country looking for work or even a handout. We read an excerpt of that to get some of this back and understand what it was like. Watch this video if you haven't watched it already from 12:14. Just click on this link. You can watch most of this video, and you'll probably get the idea as to how Americans kind of roam the country, what they do, and all this these other issues. But watch that video if you weren't here in class today. We did read an excerpt, but again, the video is very, very good at giving you some examples as to how Americans roam the country to try to find work or handouts. Then what we do for the rest of the class is starting on page 520 with the blue worksheet we got last week. We did the first section of 15.2. If you need to download that worksheet, it's right here on the Canvas page. So at the very top of the Great Depression, you can go all the way down. We got the worksheet on the 14th. You can download that here. All right, print that out, and then start answering the questions on the bottom section for 15.3. All right, we'll start on page 520. All right, that's all we get time for today. Tomorrow we're going to start reviewing this worksheet, and there'll be some examples we look at for tomorrow. All right, everybody have a fantastic day.